Hello, my name is Derek and I'm an app developer out of Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Today we're going to build on the previous tutorial of displaying a high score. We're going to change the value of that high score using these two buttons here. So we have an add button and we have a minus button. So if you haven't viewed the previous tutorial, the link is right below here. It should have just popped up. And for this we're going to use Spritebuilder. We're also going to use Xcode. So I'm going to open up Spritebuilder in the previous project that we did in the previous tutorial, and I'm just going to edit that. So I'm going to add two buttons using the objects, which is the third tab here. I'm going to change the title on the button. So the button label is going to be subtract. And for this button, it's going to be add. Now you want to stay into the properties and go into the connections tab, and for the add button I'm just going to simply use a selector called add button. Don't forget the two dots, the colon, otherwise your app won't work. Now the subtract button with the two dots, hit enter. Just align the buttons so they look a little bit prettier. And click publish. You're going to open up Xcode. This is our previous project. And the first thing that we're going to do is the CC buttons. There we go. Now we want to add the code for the button. And the code that gets executed, we want to change the high score. And there's a couple ways to do this. One way is to high score +1. There we go. And the other way to do it is actually just use a short form. So high score ++. There we go. Both ways will work. Now, when the add button is pressed, we want to refresh this in a string here with the high score and the value. So I'm just going to copy and paste that string, and when this button is pressed, it'll refresh that string there with the current value of the high score, +1, obviously. All right, so instead of typing out the code again, I'm just going to copy and paste it. I'm going to change this add to subtract. And instead of the high score ++, I'm going to say high score -. That'll subtract. So if I run the code, 2004, 2010, and the subtract button works. Of course, you don't want to start your player off with a 2004 score. So there's a couple ways to do this. One is just to change the high score value to 0. But the problem with that is every time this did load from CCB executes, it will actually change the high score to 0. So another way to do it is to just insert an if statement. So I'm going to delete that value. So I'm going to just say if, and I'm going to say if the high score is equal to nil, then display the high score at 0. There we go. So now it does a check. Is the high score nil, which is a value of nothing? Then display the high score as 0. So if I run that now, it'll do a check. There we go. Our high score is 0, so I could now add the buttons. Now, if you wanted to add another if statement that you don't want a negative high score, you could use the same if statement to disable this button here. Well, thank you very much for watching, and check out my other tutorials as well. Download some of my apps at ogokilearning.com, OGOKI learning.com. Thanks for watching.